Let me see you go back. Let me see you come forth. Now let me see you go back. Let me see you come forth. Let me see you go back. Let me see you come forth. Let me see you go back. Let me see you come forth. Yeah.
Hello, this is Mr. Griffith, and today I am going to talk about someone that has been gone for nearly 11 years. And while I don't get attached to celebrities much, because it has nothing to do with me, it's their lives and everything, I gotta say, this one really hit me, and it still gets to me even today, to the point where sometimes it's hard for me to look at anything that she's in. I'm speaking, of course, of Aaliyah Dana Houghton, otherwise simply known as Aaliyah. First, a little history on her. She made her first appearance at age 9 on the TV show Star Search, an 80s show that predates shows like American Idol and The Voice. Although she didn't win the contest, her poise and professionalism really caught the eye of viewers. Later, at age 14 or 15, I'm not sure, but I know it was around that time, she came out with her first album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, under the management of Barry Hankins, with R. Kelly as her producer. I remember hearing a buzz about this girl. I was in college. I was about 19 years old. But I didn't pay it much mind because I didn't usually get into little acts like that. You know, young acts like that. But by chance, a salesperson at a record store recommended the CD. I decided, oh, what the heck, I had a little bit of money to throw away, so I just took a chance. And I must admit, as a listener, I came up gold. This girl had me hooked basically from the first track on. Her main singles were off the hook to me, and even her weak stuff on the album was pretty good. I still play one of her weaker tracks on there, I'm So Into You, here and there, and that was a non-single. Imagine what her actual hits were. I mean, it was amazing to me. I mean, this 14, 15-year-old girl who had a voice more like someone 18 or 19. I mean, it was amazing. Later, a split from R. Kelly occurred when rumors of a secret marriage started swirling. Though both Kelly and Aaliyah denied there was a marriage, Vibe magazine produced a copy of a marriage certificate showing that there was, in fact, a marriage. Aaliyah, who by this time was 15 years old, was pronounced as 18 on the certificate. Yeah, there's some shady stuff going on there. Also, in February of 1995, the marriage was annulled by Aaliyah's parents, and Aaliyah switched to Atlantic Records. Now, as I said, both Kelly and Aaliyah denied the marriage, but there had to be something going on since a courthouse had a certificate of the marriage, and the parents had to get involved. Now, this is only, and I'm going to throw a few personal opinions as I go along with this, but this is only my personal opinion. The only thing that her parents did wrong, they did everything right except one thing. They should have pressed charges against R. Kelly. But my thinking was that they didn't want the public scrutiny on Aaliyah in that way. And I suspect that's the only reason they didn't press charges. Anyway, Aaliyah would go on with Atlantic Records and team with Timbaland and Missy Elliott for a series of good tracks. And I must admit, one of my favorite tracks off of 1 in a Million is not one of the hits. It's a slow song called Never Giving Up on This Love, which to me, that should have been a single. And that's just my personal opinion, but I felt it was that good. And speaking of 1 in a Million, this really album was a hit, selling over 8 million copies worldwide, and 3.7 million of that 8 million was just in the United States. It was also certified double platinum. So this was a really big album for the young star. She would also go on to make a brief mark in movies. most notably Romeo Must Die and Queen of the Damned. She was slated to take the starring role in the film Honey, which, after her death, was recast with Jessica Alba. And in the Whitney Houston remake of the film Sparkle, she was supposed to appear. It's kind of ironic since Sparkle was eventually remade, and we're getting it now after the death of Whitney Houston herself. And speaking of deaths, Aaliyah would meet her tragic and, in my personal view, avoidable end on August 25th, 2001, when her plane crashed along with several others on board. She was 22 years old. Later, it was revealed that the plane that they tried to take off in was smaller than the one they originally came in. Thus, all the stuff they brought with them wouldn't have been able to fit on that plane and shouldn't have been on that plane. Furthermore, and I wasn't even aware of this fact until recently, the pilot of the plane, by the name of Luis Morales III, wasn't licensed to fly and had both traces of alcohol and cocaine in his system. The family of Aaliyah later sued the company that hired the pilot, which was Black Hawk International Airways. The matter was later settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. What's always bothered me personally about this is this could have been easily avoided if Aaliyah and her crew would have just waited the next day for their scheduled flight and just waited for the plane they originally arrived in instead of being in a hurry to get back to the mainland. And while I'm on this subject, from what I understand, it was more the people that was with Aaliyah that was in a hurry than Aaliyah herself. The pilot, Mr. Morales, who had a fake license to get a job as a pilot and was not certified in the FAA, which, by the way, the family was justified in suing Black Hawk International Airways, because does anyone at that place ever heard of a background check? But anyway, Mr. Morales, if he had any training at all, even if he wasn't FAA certified, anyone with any training, and I'm not even a pilot, but anyone with any training knows that, number one, you should never fly or operate any machinery impaired. I mean, just driving, back and forth, just around the neighborhood. If you're drunk or high, you should have no business behind the wheel. And number two, anyone that knows anything about planes knows that they can only take but so much weight. The size of the plane with what they had should have never been attempted in a takeoff in the first place. Or if they would have taken off in this plane, a more experienced and rational pilot could have probably gotten himself and the people on board to safety to where bumps and bruises may have occurred, but no fatalities. But then again, a more experienced and rational pilot wouldn't have flown in the first place. But getting back to Aaliyah, this is coming from the heart here. Her death hit me way more than any other celebrity since I've been alive on this earth. That includes Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, wrestler Eddie Guerrero, or at the time before I found out he killed his wife and son, before we all found that out, wrestler Chris Benoit, rapper Tupac, Notorious B.I.G., trainer of Muhammad Ali, Angelo Dundee, rapper Heavy D, Joe Frazier, boxer Joe Frazier, I should say, and many others. These cats that I named, yes, even including Benoit, at least got to do things and live their lives. Aaliyah's life hadn't really begun yet at that point. I suspect that the best was yet to come for this lady, and it just got cut short. And believe me, her death hit hard, especially in the hip-hop R&B community. Even veterans who had made their names, like Janet Jackson and Mary J. Blige, were hit hard by her death. In fact, Mary J. Blige even says it was the death of Aaliyah, that was the turning point personally for her, which motivated her to get her life straight, to get herself cleaned up, because her life was still on a downward spiral when this happened. But when her death happened, she was shown if it can happen to a young lady who had never been in any mess or been in any drama or never been in any trouble, it can happen to anyone. So I guess in some ways, Aaliyah's death did have one positive. It kept the queen of hip hop, R&B, soul from meeting the same fate early. I can also remember a phoner with rap heavyweight DMX. And to hear this guy, who was a so-called gangster rapper, just weeping and crying like a 5-year-old boy, I mean, that hit me. I mean, and even other so-called gangster rappers, like, I can't name no names right off the top of my head besides DMX, but even other gangster rappers like Aaliyah, and her death even made them break down. That to me speaks volumes to the impact this young lady had on folks. And to start wrapping this up, if Mary J. Blige is the queen of hip hop, R&B, soul, then Aaliyah, to me, was its princess. Sorry, Ashanti, and don't get me wrong, I love you to death, but Aaliyah had that crown long before they tried to crown you with it. And to me, she's still the princess. Well, my usual saying at nearly all my videos is play the game, bring the pain. But on this one, I'll forego that. I'll end it by just saying, I hope you enjoyed the outro video. Peace.
Empty room, thinking about you, baby, thinking about all the changes we've been through. And I know it might sound crazy, but I'm still loving you, in spite of all the simple things we've been through, But I love what you do to me. Driving me insane. See, I can't go no higher. I love you on this love. Yeah. Never giving up. I'm taking love. You're always on my mind all the time.
When I was on the train, I cracked a smile